the rest of the words of that song. Okay, so first up is, how is circumnavigation possible on the flat Earth? Apparently, this question needs to be answered, and ODD TV is here to tell us why. Now, I will say that I would not use this particular question against the flat earther, because obviously they sail in one direction and it'll just keep going around and around and around. I'm drinking some light craft beer tonight. I forget the name of it. It's a cream pale ale. So yeah, I can figure it out later. But anyways, so basically in this first question right here, all he does is say, you just keep going left, kind of like in fucking NASCAR. He doesn't compare it to NASCAR, but that's basically what he says. It's easy to go around, to circumnavigate the globe, or well, I guess the flat Earth, by pretty much just playing around in NASCAR on the Earth. But that's what he says for this one, and I'm gonna get past it because there's a lot more questions.
Easily converts to a globe, so everything you believe you are doing on a globe is actually taking place on a flat Earth.
Yeah, we heard that last time. Okay.
How come the moon is upside down in the southern hemisphere?
How come the moon is upside down in the southern hemisphere? I bet you ain't got no answer for that, flat earther. I bet you they do.
This is another very simple explanation. When somebody is in the northern part of the Earth, or on the northern part of the Earth, they see the moon from this angle. When somebody is on the southern part of the Earth, the moon looks like this. They're looking at it from this angle. They see it from the opposite angle, and that's all it is. Imagine you tape a picture of the moon in the center of your living room, right? Depending on where you are in the room, the moon will be seen differently. When pondering this question, keep in mind that the face of the moon never changes.
Okay, so yes, the face of the moon, it doesn't change the way that it does, the way that it faces towards us. But what I will say is that the moon does rotate on its axis. It's tidally locked with the Earth, so that as it rotates, it moves around the Earth, and it rotates and it moves around the Earth in such a way that the same side of the moon is always facing us. Now, I will say that his perspective bit down there might work in the short distance that he's talking about. Like if you tape something, up here, it'll look different from different perspectives, but that's not exactly the way that it would work like on a globe or whatnot, or even on a spherical Earth. I mean, on a spherical Earth, I would think that you would see it like the exact way that it is in the sky, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. So his whole idea about how it works is completely dependent upon the moon being small and in our own atmosphere. And we actually had a super chat. Drew Book Review says, how much for KC to do a cameo? We see you enough. Thank you for telling me I have an ugly fucking face. It's not like I didn't know that already, Drew. I mean, goddamn.
I like your face.
Oh, yeah? By the way, I went to Medieval Times and I got a mug. And it's awesome. And it's got a lot of beer in it tonight. Oh, man. It's party like it's $11.99. Fuck yeah. So yeah, I don't know how much would they need to donate for you to show on camera. Not tonight, guys. We'll prepare for next week.
Plus, it's weird. Like when
Yeah.
and I come over there, you can my lips up because I'm so short.
Okay. Well,
It's weird.
you don't have to worry about much showing then.
Look at my hair.
420 Devil Dog, smoke weed every day.
Don't do that if it's.
Yeah.
Also, don't do that if you work for the government.
Yeah.
Spherical Earth, we'd expect to see other sides, but we never have.
No, actually, we don't expect to see other sides because of the fact that it's tidally locked. We always see the same side of the moon because of how fast it rotates on its axis, as well as how fast it orbits around the Earth. It makes perfect sense if you in the globe Earth model. So what you're saying now is factually wrong. What about the seasons?
What about the seasons?
God damn, I really hope whoever he got to do the voiceover for that like got better equipment after this shit. It got over 1 million views on YouTube. You know he made a little bit of money from it.
The sun is close and small,
No, it's not.
and it circles around and above the flat Earth in a spiral pattern on the Tropic of Cancer in the northern summer months, and then down in the Tropic of Capricorn in the northern winter months.
In the northern, you know, that area of the world called the northern. It's a lot like the House Slytherin. That's what it is. Northern. So there's a lot of problems with this particular model right here. For one thing, he doesn't explain what the sun's made out of to where it could be in the atmosphere and not light the atmosphere on fucking fire. He also doesn't explain what it's made of so that it provides an even amount of energy to the Earth. And it also doesn't explain why, you know, certain areas of the Earth are cooler than other areas when it's on the same side. This doesn't explain like winter and summer. It doesn't explain like what forces it to rotate in the atmosphere, what causes it to change the different tropics or whatnot, change in height or whatever. It doesn't explain that for the sun or the moon. And also it doesn't explain like what the moon is exactly made of to where it doesn't like affect any fucking thing on the surface of the Earth, even though that there's this giant rock that's rotating up there for some fucking reason. There's a lot of questions about this model that he just simply doesn't answer, and I think that any flat earther that would listen to ODD TV needs to sit there and think about these questions and think about, well, what's to explain the force? Well, I don't know. Well, then you can't say that this is definitely it. You have to know what causes it, like what causes this shit to happen.
So when the sun is further away from the North Pole, right, the center of the flat Earth, it's winter in the north and summer in the south. Since the sun is smaller than we are told and closer, it makes much more sense that we experience seasons in the first place.
No, it doesn't. So seasons, those are determined by a lot of factors. For one thing, the tilt of the Earth is a major factor, as well as the orbit of the Earth around the sun. So when it's winter, it's tilted away from the sun, like in either hemisphere, whichever way it's pointing. Let me start over. Hold on. Let's see, Jeremy H. The sun is made from bioluminescent cheese. I can't argue with that. So, regardless of what hemisphere you are on, the determination of seasons is given by the tilt of the Earth and the position of the orbit of the Earth at whatever particular time. So, when it's winter, the Earth is tilted away from the sun. When it is summer, the Earth is tilted towards the sun in whichever hemisphere. The way that the sun's rays hit the Earth and the angle at which the rays hit the Earth determine the temperature gradients that we find on the surface of the Earth when the Earth is facing the sun. That's what gives us seasons. This model right here would not explain seasons, tides, hurricanes, weather patterns, or anything like that. So this does not actually explain any of that at all. He says that it explains seasons, but he's not actually telling us how it explains seasons. My particular model exactly explains why seasons happen, why hurricanes happen, why climate happens, but his just fails on every aspect of that. Cutthroat Juggalo just sent a whole bunch of cheese. Thanks.
If the sun was 93 million miles away and had a radius of over 400,000 miles, we would hardly experience temperature fluctuation as we do.
That's not true. Because as we know it now, we know exactly how far away the sun is from the Earth. We can detect that, determine it through basic geometry. And with the way that the Earth moves in its orbit and the way that it's tilted, the amount of energy that hits the Earth and is absorbed by the face of the Earth depends on the angle at which the Earth is facing the sun. And this is easily shown in physics, in thermodynamics. So what he's saying here is not actually true. And then apparently I sent myself $2 saying, "But why does cheese happen?" Oh, that was KC. Oh, I just saw it. Godless Iowan. Does round Earth explain paprika? Yeah, I don't know. Yes, it does. Or you have me stumped. I don't know. Sorry, boy. H says, I think he needs to come to the south. Yeah, he does. Cutthroat Juggalo. Did you just donate to yourself? I did.
It was me.
I know.
It was you.
I know. It was KC.
What about
gravity? Okay, so we're going to skip this particular question because he goes through the same rigmarole that everybody else does. Basically, that it's density and buoyancy and not like anything else. Like it's not gravity or he doesn't explain anything else. But what I will say about this and their whole position on gravity is the fact that, one, it needs the whole Jesuit conspiracy thing surrounding Newton and everybody else in order for them to have a foundation to say that it's not true. And then they need to explain what force is causing things to go down. They never explain that. They never explain like why the density and buoyancy of things causes it to go down. Like with gravity, we understand that the center of the Earth is pulling objects, or the Earth itself is pulling objects to the center of it because of its mass. And so that explains like why things fall down basically, and also why in space there is no like up and down. It's all relative to your position. So they don't ever explain that down motion. They just have it as kind of an immutable fact of the universe that things fall down. But the problem is that when you get out into 3D like space, into just a 3D like whatever, there is no up or down. It's all relative to where you are. So down for us is towards the center of the Earth. And so, yeah, they don't ever explain that. He doesn't explain it here. Like I said, we're going to skip through it. Godless Iowan, Master Donator. We're inflating our numbers so that we can pitch it to people. Oh, did you do Shane?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I meant to get Shane in there. But okay, so we're gonna skip past this because all he says is gravity or density, buoyancy. There you go. Oh, 420 Devil Dog. Hail the gods of cheese for nachos or pizza. Hey, you know what? Mozzarella sticks are always good too.
Phone is denser than the air, therefore it falls when you drop it. Everything works because of density. No need to factor in imaginary components.
Well, gravity is an imaginary component. Density is how many like atoms are packed into a certain object or whatnot. That's how dense it is. That's why you can have a block of whatever the fuck material over here and then a smaller block and they will weigh the same because one block is denser than the other. It has more atoms in it than the other because of, atomic structure and all this other shit. So that's just how many atoms are in it. It does not have any bearing on like weight as we measure it, although more dense objects will weigh more, but it's because gravity is going to pull, like the force of gravity is going to be higher on that one than that one. So I mean, I guess it does have an effect on it, like how dense the object is. It's going to weigh more, but it's not, density isn't what it isn't the measurement of weight, is what I'm trying to say. Jeremy H. Moon has craters. Swiss trees has craters. Coincidence? I think not.
Fucking love Swiss.
Quote, the law of gravitation is said.
So zetetic cosmogamy, mogony, I don't know. But this is all bullshit. This entire paragraph right here is just ridiculous, and it has no bearing, like, basis in reality. So we're gonna try to get past this a little bit. Maybe.
In the southern hemisphere,
Oh, fuck.
deflection of.
What about the Coriolis effect?
What about the Coriolis effect?
Coriolis effect, whatever the fuck, I don't care. Okay.
They say that the Coriolis effect is a result of the Earth spinning and is responsible for the deflection of an object moving above the Earth.
Yes. So the air or the Earth is spinning, the atmosphere is moving with it, and the Coriolis, whatever effect is the effect on freely falling objects that are pushed either by the wind or by just the movement of the Earth in general. But it's free falling objects and not objects that are moving within the medium that they're in.
Rightward in the northern hemisphere and leftward in the southern hemisphere. The problem is that things like hurricanes and water in the sink aren't always predictable and have been known to spin both ways.
Well, I mean, yeah, hurricanes don't spin both ways. Actually, just to let you guys know, there are links in the description of this video for everything that I'm talking about tonight, and this in particular, because hurricanes spin in counterclockwise rotations, while typhoons or cyclones, they will spin the other way, whichever one is formed in the southern hemisphere. I think that's...
Did you? Oh, he's saying anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
Counter, though.
I said counterclockwise because that's the fucking term. Fuck his anti-clockwise shit. Trust me, guys, I'm a fucking scientist. But so hurricanes spin counterclockwise, while the similar versions of it that form in the southern hemisphere will always spin clockwise. And the reason why is because of the Coriolis effect. Because the air currents in the two hemispheres move in different ways. So, and that only happens on a globe Earth. It wouldn't happen on a flat Earth. He says that it's flat and stationary. Fun fact, if it were flat and stationary, the high pressure and low pressure systems of the Earth would cause 300 mile per hour winds 24/7 all over the Earth because of how low pressure and high pressure systems work together. On globe Earth, the Coriolis effect, whatever, the Coriolis effect actually allows the low pressure portions, which would be near the poles of the Earth, to move to the high pressure systems, which would be at the equator. That's why, like hurricanes and typhoons and cyclones and everything like that form right there near the equator, is because it's at that meeting or that high pressure, low pressure difference. It causes those things to happen. And the air currents are formed and operate based on these high pressure and low pressure exchanges between the poles and the equator. So what he's saying here is not actually true, and he's got no scientific evidence actually to back up anything that he is saying. And hurricanes and tornadoes, cyclones, and all that, it simply would not be possible on a flat Earth. So if you're looking for something that definitely disproves a flat Earth, a stationary flat Earth, then I would definitely point out how hurricanes and tornadoes, cyclones, and typhoons, how those work are very good bits of evidence against a flat Earth.
In either hemisphere. Also, another contradiction that proves the Coriolis effect false is the fact that no flying machine above the Earth has to account for it. If a bullet that travels 1,700 miles per hour has to account for the effect, then an airplane traveling at 550 miles per hour would definitely have to account for the effect.
So, fuck me. Okay,
I'll
yeah.
take care of that later.
I know, honey. Okay, so hold on. There we go. All right, so planes, they somewhat do have to take into account the Coriolis effect, because the Coriolis effect gives us this high pressure, low pressure exchange. They have to be wary of the, winds and turbulence and all this other shit, storms and whatnot. So, I mean, they do have to factor in the Coriolis effect, but not in the way that he thinks. But this is also why snipers have to factor in the Coriolis effect. Is because, for one thing, if you're shooting from a very long distance and the amount of time that the bullet has to travel, you do have to account for the movement of the Earth on certain scales. The other way that the Coriolis effect actually affects snipers' bullets is the wind. You have to know which way the wind is blowing, and that is caused by the Coriolis effect. So both of the instances have to take the Coriolis effect into account in different ways. Planes, though, are moving within the atmosphere, and they are moving with the Earth. So whatever kind of vector analysis you want to do on a large plane or anything like that, you would still have it moving along with the Earth. There are, if the plane is going against the rotation of the Earth, that does have an effect on the plane. So, I mean, all you have to do is just look this shit up. It's basic information.
When you look for the answer, you'll find that we are told that since the atmosphere moves with the spin of the Earth, planes aren't affected. So why would bullets be? Especially when they go much faster than common airplanes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're like, with snipers, you're shooting at, I guess, mostly stationary targets. You've got to factor in wind. You got to factor in how far it goes. With the plane, you're doing the factoring in real time, whereas like with a bullet, you can't refactor your shit. Like, you don't have like a magical bullet that you can remotely navigate and stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to take the Coriolis effect into account with snipers. If you could do that. But the fact is that with planes, you're refactoring like your flight path and everything like that in real time, versus a bullet where you shoot and then it just sort of goes. Also, so before we get into this why can't I see infinitely far thing, in the links down below, Godless engineer, factor in how far it goes. So in the links that I provided down below, they give a really good example. Let's say that you and a friend are playing Ring Around the Rosie or something like that, and you got a ball and you're throwing it to each other. Well, if you just throw the ball straight at the person, then they're most likely going to miss. If you're going around in circles, and staying at a constant speed, you're more than likely going to miss, because it's going to drift off to the left or to the right, depending on which way you throw it. So what you have to do is you have to throw the ball where they're going to be instead of where they are. So, you have to, like, that's a very crude version of it, but you get what I mean, hopefully.
Why can't I see infinitely far?
Because you don't have eyes of an eagle, bitch! Even eagles can't see infinitely far. But I would say that this is actually a really good question. Because like on a clear day with 100% visibility, you would think that you would be able to see across the ocean or what the fuck ever. You can get a powerful telescope and you can fucking look and see other places around the world. You would think on a flat Earth you'd be able to do that. Of course, he doesn't actually explain this, and we'll see how he explains it.
This is for the people that wonder why they can't see certain things that they believe they should be able to see if the Earth was flat. I've been asked on numerous occasions, why can't I see Mount Everest from anywhere on Earth? I've also been asked, why can't I see Spain from the east coast of America? Well, besides dirt, dust, dew, rain, fog, smog, smoke, clouds, mist, haze, snow, etc., your vision is limited by the vanishing point of your perception. Check your weather app on your phone and notice the visibility in your area.
Well, yeah, visibility in your area is about like clouds and just in general how far you can see on that day, and it's perfectly understandable on a globe Earth why it's like that. But for the he's mentioning here like objects that would obstruct your view under normal lighting circumstances. But like for instance, when we look out into the universe, we have different lenses that we can use to look out and we can see different things. Like if you look out there using like an X-ray lens or whatnot to see X-rays and whatever, you would see a different picture. And same thing with like gamma rays and everything like that. Like when they take pictures of the sun, they actually have a filter on it where they take pictures of different rays that are emanating from the sun, and you see different things emanating from the sun when you look at it with different lenses on. So I would say that everything that he just mentioned could possibly limit your visibility looking across the Atlantic Ocean. Possibly. With a normal telescope and whatnot, I can see it maybe obstructing your view. But what I will say is that you could get different lenses, or you could get fucking fancy ass telescopes or whatnot, and you can see in different wavelengths of light that are not necessarily obstructed by those particular things. No, just normal burping. Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you're willing to give it to me.
I'm always willing to.
Okay.
Is the flat Earth a religious thing?
Is it a religious thing? I don't know.
Yes and no. I say this because I myself am not religious. I'd rather not have faith in something, but know the facts to the best of my ability. And the facts are that the curvature and motion of the Earth have never been proven.
Yes, they have. In the Convex Earth documentary, they have. So I don't know why you're saying that they haven't. I mean, this right here shows the curve just fine, but you're saying that it doesn't.
The Bible, without any doubt whatsoever, supports the Earth that's fixed in place. The Book of Enoch, which is biblically endorsed and most likely belongs in the Bible, describes the flat, stationary, enclosed Earth in great detail.
In the Bible?
Most likely.
It's biblically endorsed.
Yeah. So what he's about to go through here is an appeal to tradition, basically.
Jesus.
Or like appeal to old civilizations or something like that. Basically, the Bible says that there's a dome and all this other shit that we can't see from the surface of the earth, and or maybe the dome is blue. I don't know. If you ask D Marble, it's probably blue. But he's gonna appeal to older civilizations and put their understanding of the cosmos ahead of what we currently know. And this reliance on old information, over new information that we have with better technology is dumb as fuck. But it's also a very basic tactic of pseudoscience in general. Is that they prefer older understandings of things over newer understandings that are closer to reality.
Detail. Many religions and civilizations preceding Judaism and Christianity support a flat and stationary earth, such as the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Norse, the Hindus, etc. This fantastic spinning globe earth is very new to the people of the world.
I don't know. Can you guys see on the NASA picture? It says cock. It says cock. It says I'm dong cock. Knob.
Blow it up.
See it? It's right there. Cock. I don't know where he got that picture from.
Oh my god, that's so wild.
Yeah.
Yet most of us carry on as if the theory is unquestionable, and we've been conditioned to laugh when the flat earth is brought up. Whether you are religious or not, you can see the flat earth for yourself.
Chemtrails. So I would say that a religious view of the whole flat earth is quite nearly essential to it, because a lot of apologists use the Bible as an ultimate authority. So it only makes sense that they would, instead of using the authority of scientists and all that other shit to form their opinions, they use this new authority. And even ODD TV right here says that, oh, well, I'm not religious. I prefer not to have faith, but rather facts and evidence. But yet then he picks up the Bible and he says that that has facts and evidence in it when it simply doesn't. I mean, half of this channel is proving that the Bible does not have facts or evidence inside it.
Is the Flat Earth Society behind the resurgence of the Flat Earth?
Okay. Excuse me. So, what I will say about the Flat Earth Society is that the original blog or forum or whatnot that was started was satire. And then, the actual Flat Earth community started growing and growing. And then it became a little indistinguishable from what they were actually saying. So I'm going to skip over this question right here because there's nothing really to gain from it. He does mention how... Well, I'll play the first part of it because he does something really, really odd.
No, the Flat Earth Society is designed as a containment unit. Gatekeepers that tell the truth about some stuff, but then lie about other things in order to make it appear ridiculous or steer you in the wrong direction.
Okay, so I don't know what he means by it being a containment unit, but the fact that he's like, some of it's right, and then other shit's wrong. Like, the fact that he cherry picks, like, a satire site as being like, oh, some of it's right. So, I just have to wonder, like, what method do you have to delineate real shit from fake shit? You have to have some kind of method, and you're not going to tell us here. You just say, oh, I cherry pick the information that I get. Huh? Jesus.
That's how we know.
It's Jesus, everybody. Of course it's Jesus. What the fuck are you talking about, woman? Didn't you read 2 Timothy, what the fuck ever, from Paul? Shut the fuck up.
Why you so mean?
I'm Jesus, bitch.
I'll bitch slap you, motherfucker.
Jeremy H. Idiocy. It's not just a comedy, people. Idiocracy. Sorry, Idiocracy. It's not just a comedy. I would agree. But yeah, so we're gonna skip through this part because he just cherry picks. Like, you know, he says that the gravity thing, the way they explain it, isn't true, and all this other shit. And oh wait, hold on. Fuck. There we go. Are all scientists, pilots, and members of government in on it? So this right here, starts with the... Honey, where's my Illuminati mask? Is it over there? Okay. So this is where he starts his Illuminati talk. And so I'll let it play out, but basically, initially he says, no, they're not all in on it, only the high-ranking officials are and whatnot. But then it gets into some weird territory. No.
Scientists, pilots, and members of the government in on it?
No, most scientists, pilots, and members of the government have been indoctrinated just as the rest of us have. When they work at their everyday job, they go about it as if the Earth is most certainly spherical. If indeed some of these people did know the Earth is flat, they most likely wouldn't even speak out about it in fear of losing their job or...
We will fire your ass if you say that it's flat. No government employee will ever say that it's flat because fuck you, it's a globe and we need you to believe it.
or ruining their reputation. The average scientist goes about everything they do with the spherical Earth already factored in. For mainstream science, questioning our current model is a huge no-no.
Thank you, Cadlin. I appreciate your donation.
For pilots, computers do most of their work, not to take away from what they do because I personally appreciate it, and also pilots often switch out at stops, making it difficult to understand the real layout of Earth's land masses.
Puffalophagus 360, I'm biblically endorsed, bitch! Moses for Pharaoh 1250 or 1550 BCE.
or not at all.
As far as government members and politicians go, besides high-ranking officials at NASA, which isn't government at all, it's safe to assume that they are not in the know and they are not knowingly perpetrating this lie. Very few people compared to the population of the world are enlightened to the flat Earth.
Ancient Tater Code. I have to read this. Do you think gravity holds down more people than Brett Kavanaugh? Fuck! I think so. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Probably.
He's pretty prolific. So, like I said, this is his start of the whole. It's a conspiracy thing, and like I said, he gets deeper into it.
NASA isn't the only space agency.
Okay, I think this will probably be the last one that we cover tonight because this is just fucking hilarious. He goes through this entire thing, and I shit you not, he says that because all of them use similar shapes in their logos, they are all connected and controlled by one controlling body. One group to control them all. It's like a Lord of the Rings thing, except it's, you know, we have multiple rings and we just control everything, everywhere. And buy shit like GE, buy all of his shit that's probably linked down below in Teespring or whatever. I don't know how that pops up on YouTube, but I'll work from within the Illuminati to do it.
Are all others in on it too?
Shit, did I miss one? I open one. It's see you read this. Okay.
Thank you.
The answer is yes. Here's a short clip on what you need to know.
The Vector, NASA's official logo. If you've ever looked at
Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because they ramble on and fucking on about it, but basically the symbol of NASA has like a vector symbol in it. If you notice that right there, it looks like that sort of triangle without the bottom leg. And they say that NASA says that it was designed after a certain plane design or wing design or something like that in the 50s. Regardless of what actually inspired it, the chevron or that particular shape has been a symbol for a very long time, ever since that we could probably fucking draw. That particular shape has been part of it. And just because all of these space agencies have some semblance of it there, doesn't mean that they're all connected in some way. They also use numerology to connect them, like the number 7 and whatnot. Basically, they're drawing all of these things together, saying that they are linked and that it's controlled by the Illuminati. Rawr. When it's really not. These are common shapes that are used, and not just NASA and all these other space agencies or government contractors use these shapes in their logo designs and everything like that. So, what?
Oh, baby. Lost the D. Reese, I lost it. Oh, why do I have to explain to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that anybody would have to explain it to them. But you see how they explain how everybody has a version of it.
My works logo is.
Yeah, I know, but you have to understand with aviation, there's a very specific way the planes have to be shaped, and it's similar to the symbol. So it kind of makes sense that all of these aviation oriented things have some semblance of that symbol in there. So yeah, I mean, all of this symbolism that he's going through is just fucking ridiculous. Well, yeah, you probably won't. Then he compares Jack's this right here. I like how they color the snake blue on the right side, but it's red on this other side because of NASA. Oh, you saw it? Okay. Oh well. Who's responsible for this deception? Spoiler alert for, I guess, fucking next week. It's the Jews. Not even shitting you. It's the Jew. That's who he says is responsible. The Jews. The Jews control everything. He's also a Holocaust denier, so that's another thing that you can fucking hate him for. But that's going to be it for tonight. We got to, I think, question 19, and there's only a couple questions left, so we don't have that much left to do. Yes, Space Jews! But yeah, so he blames the Jews. But now we're going to get into the comments of the day. Let me switch to my cam real quick so that I can do this and take up the last 20 seconds. So if you were just here for the video, I appreciate it. Please go down below, leave a like, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about ODD TV's questions here and his answers. Also, let me know what you thought about my rebuttals to his shit. I would really love to know what you think or thought or whatever the fuck. Let me know down below. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, all that kind of good shit.